here.
Okay.
And I'm just going to sit here, and I've turned this on, and we're just going to have a little conversation all about you. If you could just say your name first and last.
Chris Parker.
Okay, and then spell, please.
Chris is K-R-I-S, Parker, P-A-R-K-E-R.
And is this your last day, or it's...
Tomorrow is my last
So
day.
Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and Steve Volkert's note said 42 years
Yes.
in the city.
In the library.
Oh, in the library total?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Where was the library when you started, and what year was that?
When, let's see, 1977 was when I started part-time in children's, and that was over in City Hall, and our library then was where the council chambers are now. The children's library was, they had run out of room on the main floor with the library, so they had moved it downstairs, and yes, I was lucky enough to get hired.
How young were you?
Oh gosh, I'm trying to think. Well, 42 years ago from 70 is what? I was 28, something like that.
Where, did you just come out of school or a different job?
No, actually, when I started working at the library, I was a stay-at-home mom. I had 2 kids, and my daughter was in 2nd grade, and my son was just going into kindergarten. And so the job came up, and Betty Wenzel, who was the director at that time, knew that I had kind of been looking for a part-time job. And so she told me they were going to be hiring in children's, and I should come and fill out an application. And the children's librarian at that time was Frances Rhodes, who I had actually had as my brownie leader when I was a kid. So it all worked out very well. And then I was in children's for 6 years, and then the cataloging position opened up in the adult library. And so I applied for that and then got that. So I've been full-time then since then.
Who was the mayor when you were hired?
I think it was, oh gee, I can't think.
That's okay, you can come back to it.
Okay.
What was maybe one of the popular books at the time?
Popular books at the time, geez. I see so many books in a day. Every day it's hard for me to think back that far.
Or maybe even some of the reading trends, or things that you remember just from the era. Was it like, was Mr. Rogers just debuting, or he was a big influence?
Mr. Rogers was a big Sesame Street, obviously. And, you know, because I worked in children's too at that time, you know, a lot of the Disney books, that's, I think, when they first started with some of the princess movies and stuff like that, so.
How has a children's library changed, or the library overall changed in all these years?
They do a lot more programming now than we did. We had like 1 story time a week. I think it was on a Wednesday morning, if I remember right. And then in the summertime, we'd have like a summer reading program. But it was just one, you know, like one time. One time for the little kids, one time for the big kids. Now they've got programming, they've got on Tuesday, they've got Wednesday, they've got Legos once a month where the kids come in after school and have thousands of Legos they can be creative with. And also they're doing more with the young adult kids, the younger teenage kids than they were when I was there. We had a section, but we didn't really do too much with it. Now they have programming for them too, which is a good idea, I think.